If you want to help out and support the channel, there are a few things you can do. Go check out Flipside Gaming and use the promo code VOIDMAGE in all caps. This will get you 10% off all orders $10 or more. And if you go shopping on tcgplayer.com, go use my affiliate link in the description below. That way all purchases you make will go towards helping the channel. And lastly, go check out my Patreon. It's a more direct way that you can help the channel while also getting some more interaction. I appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech video, this time for Patron Jesus in January. He wanted me to do a deck tech for Ayara, First of Locthwain, and to make it a combo deck, which if you're not familiar with her, Ayara, First of Locthwain is 3 mana, mono black, 2/3, legendary elf noble. Whenever she or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. She has a second ability where you can tap to sacrifice another black creature to draw a card. So right away you know there is combo potential in black. We already have a bunch of aristocrat cards, things like Blood Artist, that are known for draining life. So not only are you going to be taking it away, but you're also going to be gaining a bunch. And we want to take advantage of creatures entering the battlefield. We want to make sure that we get black creature tokens entering to take advantage of Ayara even further, because the more ETBs we have, the more triggers we are going to get. That second ability is quite underrated. Because we have a bunch of token producers, we have a lot of sack fodder, making it easy to use that ability to draw a card. Now starting it off here with the lands, we have the good old utility Bajuka Bog, get rid of a pesky graveyard. We have the wonderful Cabal Coffers Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth combo. The ability to add a bunch of colored mana to our mana pool for just really 3 mana is pretty sweet. We have the less powerful Cabal Stronghold, but again, any opportunity to add more black mana. Castle Locthwain is a nice way to draw a card. We are going to be gaining a bunch of life in this deck, so don't be too concerned if you have to pay a bunch every now and then. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx is going to reward us for our devotion to black. Since our commander is 3 black, we pretty much break even with it already. All we need is a little bit more and you start getting value out of it. Witch's Cottage can help get us a creature back from our graveyard. Not the best that we have in the deck, but if we can get an awesome creature back from the graveyard in any way, it can help us during our game. Now going into other ramp, we have Artifact Ramp. We have the Expedition map, so we can search up our Cabal Coffers or our Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Getting those 2 lands as early as possible is going to put us ahead by a lot. Soul Ring for obvious reasons, but we also have Wayfarer's Bauble. Searching lands is pretty important when we do have Cabal Coffers. If all we need is another swamp, then there we go, we can get it. Add more black mana to our mana pool. Chuckle Diamond and Mindstone are 2 mana rocks. You don't want to go super crazy with the mana rocks in this deck because our commander is relatively cheap. Jet Medallion and Bantu's Monument, great cost reduction. Bantu's Monument does reward you for casting creature spells by giving you a similar life drain effect. We also have Ashnod's Altar and Phyrexian Altar, bunch of token fodder, a lot of creatures that are pretty easy to get back from the graveyard. And of course, if you do want to combo, you do need these because it'll keep your turn going by giving you more mana. You can then cast those creatures again, which I'm going to get to in a minute. There are a bunch of creatures that we can get back from the graveyard. We do have a Dark Ritual because our commander is 3 black. It's nice to have this turn 1, get her out there immediately. But we also have Burnished Heart and Cryptghast in creature form in black. This is pretty sweet ramp. Again, with Burnished Heart, it's kind of the same attitude with Wayfarer's Bauble. Since Cabal Coffers is one of the most powerful cards in our deck, it's important if we can get more swamps out there. Now we go on to card draw. Card draw is very important, especially in a combo deck. If you can get to your combo pieces quicker, it's going to help you win. Now, I wouldn't say this is a super competitive deck. We don't have the best answers in mono black anyway, but we still have cards like Skull Clamp. Equip it to a creature with 1 toughness, you can easily draw 2 cards. Sign in Blood and Read the Bones. Great sorceries that allow us to get 2 cards to our hand, but we also have some pretty easy ways to draw cards in addition to Ayara. We have Grim Haruspex, we have Midnight Reaper, 3 mana creatures that whenever a non-token creature dies, we get to draw a card. We also have the awesome new staple for black, Dread Presence. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under our control, we can draw a card and lose a life. Could also deal 2 damage to any target and have us gain 2 life, but that first ability is going to be a priority. We also have a Smothering Abomination. We have a lot of ways to sacrifice creatures. This is going to refill our hand, and provided if we have a lot of mana, we should be able to play a bunch of spells. Now in enchantment form, we have probably the best card draw. Phyrexian Arena, Dark Prophecy, and the new Erebos Bleak Hearted. Phyrexian Arena is just a good old staple, but Dark Prophecy and Erebos reward us for killing our own creatures. We do have to pay life, but by doing that, we're getting to draw more cards. We should be able to gain that life back easily with Ayara. And we do have a Liliana Dreadhorde General, which again, similar to those cards, whenever a creature you control dies, you get to draw a card. Her other abilities are also pretty sweet. Her -4 being a pretty easy way to trigger her static ability, her ult being pretty much a win con. Now, if you want to get a little bit more precision, we do have a couple tutors here, Demonic Tutor and Diabolic Intent. Get a specific card you need, you can go off, you can force your opponents to lose a bunch of life, and you're going to see a lot of cards in here that do that pretty easily. So let's get on to our ETB cards, are really just creatures that give us multiple ETBs. Doesn't necessarily have to be a token producer, but something that can be abused, that can come back. Nether Trader and Reassembling Skeleton are sweet in this deck, especially the Nether Trader for combos. It's pretty easy to go off with that card. We have an Ophiomancer, we can keep sacrificing that black snake creature token, we can keep getting it back each upkeep. Chittering Witch enters the battlefield and gives us 3 1/1 black rat creature tokens. I say 3 because most commander games you have 3 opponents, which pretty much means it's going to be the same card for us as Sengir Autocrat. Also gives us 3 black tokens, which is really all you need to care about. It doesn't matter that there's 0/1s. Both of those creatures ETBing, that's going to be 4 life loss for your opponents. You're going to gain 4 life. Endrixar Master Breeder is where the combos come in. If you have the mana there and you can sacrifice those tokens and you can keep playing creature spells, that's just more ETBs. You're getting a crazy amount of thralls. Keep sacrificing the thralls so you don't have to get rid of Endrixar, and you will continue to drain your opponents of life. Ogre Slumlord rewards us for killing non-token creatures. Doesn't have to be ours this time, we can do it to our opponent's creatures. We get 1/1 black rat creature tokens, and it can get quite out of hand. We do have some bigger creatures like Grave Titan and Abhorrent Overlord. Grave Titan can continue to provide us with 2/2 zombies, also a decent attacker. Abhorrent Overlord, another devotion-focused card, giving us 1/1 harpies for each black mana in those cards. We also have other token producers such as Bitter Blossom and Dreadhorde Invasion. Bitter Blossom being a little bit better because it can give us more of those fairy tokens. But of course, getting all of these creatures out there, it would be in vain if we didn't have other ways of forcing our opponents to lose life. We have the good old Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat, Falcon Wrath Noble, Vindictive Vampire, and Sir Conrad the Grim. All of these creatures are going to add to what our Ayara is already doing. It's focused on death triggers this time, but it complements it nicely since she can sacrifice creatures whenever we need her to. We also have other sack outlets. Point is, we are going to be ahead by a lot. These are going to gain us a bunch of life, and we're just going to keep grinding away at our opponents. Every death trigger is going to add up, making it a lot easier to combo. In fact, you probably don't even have to go deep into a combo to kill players, especially when you have Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Another devotion card, everybody knows it. Our commander is 3 black mana, so if you have her out, and at least this, in addition to the trigger you get with her, that's 5 life each opponent is going to lose. You're going to gain 15, 16. You don't even have to have a developed board, and this is pretty sweet. Alrighty, so now let's talk about removal. The removal that we do have in here is going to be creature removal because this is mono black. We don't really have any way of dealing with artifacts and enchantments. We have 2 really sweet instants in Defile and Tragic Slip. -1/-1 may not seem like a lot, but it can get rid of indestructible creatures. We also have Mutilate and Living Death, board wipes that will effectively get rid of every creature. -1/-1 and Sacrifice gets around indestructible as well. Living Death can also be a pretty nasty win condition. A lot of our creatures are aristocrats that force our opponents to lose life, and if we just want to set up a play where our Ayara is in our graveyard and then we play Living Death, that's a lot of triggers. I'm also playing Ravenous Chupacabra, another good ETB creature, enters the battlefield and destroys target creature an opponent controls. And since we have ways of killing our own creatures pretty easily, we do have Grave Pact and Dictative Erebos. Very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with this, especially if they don't have any ways of bringing their creatures back. If they're entirely creature focused, it's easy to keep them out of the game. So now I want to move on to probably the more interesting cards of the deck, the ones I put in here specifically to function well, whether I think they're home run cards or that I think they're absolute staples. We have Thornbite Staff. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, untap this creature. So if you have it equipped to Ayara, you can just keep sacrificing creatures, untapping her. We have a bunch of token producers and we should have a lot of creatures out there on the field. So just let those triggers add up and you should be in a good position to win the game. We also have Bolas's Citadel. This card is nasty. We should be gaining a ton of life with Ayara. We have a bunch of token ETBs. The life we lose off of Bolas's Citadel isn't going to matter if we can just keep playing those spells. And hey, it has a contingency where if you sacrifice 10 non-land permanents, each opponent loses 10 life. So if you have nothing else to do and your opponents are close enough to death, why not do that? And then finally, I have probably the best card in the whole deck. If it resolves, it's pretty easy to kill your opponents. Plague of Vermin. 7 mana sorcery. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of life. Repeat this process until no one pays a life. Each player puts a 1/1 black rat creature token into play for each 1 life he or she paid this way. Now I talked about how much life we're going to gain, and most likely our opponents are not going to be gaining as much life as we are. This makes it easy for us to just pay an amount of life equal to our opponent who has the most life. That way we can kill all of our opponents. All of those rats are going to enter the battlefield and trigger Ayara, making it probably the easiest combo in the whole deck. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think about Ayara First of Locthwain. She is honestly one of my favorite commander options this year. I like her better than Kirik. I like her better than Sir Conrad because I think you have more flexibility here. You accomplish exactly what you want in mono black. You get some good life drain, and you also get some good card draw. You get to synergize with sacrifice cards. She is quite the mono black commander. Anyway, Jesus, I enjoyed making this video for you. Happy New Year, bud. Happy New Year to everybody. You all have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you next video. Just wanted to say thanks to the patrons who are supporting me on patreon.com. Go check it out. There are different tiers with their own rewards. One of them is having your name in the credits of my videos. I know it's not much, but it's something that I can do to show my appreciation. Thanks again, and have a good day.